going to be reading the book Rechargeable. So I'm going to read it to you. And we're going to try to think about the key details in the text. Does anybody know what key details means?
The really good teachers.
The really good details? So what can we say instead of good?
The better than all the others.
What would make them better? Do they tell us maybe more about the story, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, we got some friends agree. Okay, so yeah, maybe like the more important details of the story. Okay, so what if I told you, what does it mean looking at the surface level details? What does that might maybe mean? Jermaine?
Might mean like lower.
Say it again for me, please.
Like lower.
Lower? Okay, could you try to explain that a little differently?
Like Alyssa said, but a lot lower.
Okay, so they might not be as important details. Okay, that's a very good answer. Any other ideas? Kayla?
For you to look at the top sentence and see what information there is.
Okay, I like that answer. I'm going to show you a model, and I want you to kind of give me some ideas here. So, looking at my birthday cake, these are the surface level details we would see. So what details do you notice about my cake? Raising our hand. Matthew?
It has candles.
Okay, so you notice it has candles. Are there any other details you notice? Quincy?
It has the sign that says happy birthday.
Okay, so we have the lettering that says happy birthday. Does anybody notice any other details? Robert?
You're 4 years old.
4 years old, so you're counting the candles. Very good observation. Okay, Isabella? It's brown. So what might that mean? Chocolate. So how many friends here have had birthday cake before? Okay. So when you have a cake, is it always the flavor that it appears to be on the outside? No. Right? So sometimes there might be different flavors on the inside. And that's kind of what I'm trying to compare to you is that surface level details, that's what we see on the outside. If we're reading to read in depth means to look at details, to dig deeper in the text, to pull more details out of the text. So looking inside of our cake, I want you to tell me, what do you learn now? What do you learn looking inside of the cake, Brooks?
Maybe it's strawberry and vanilla.
Okay, so we learned that our cake's not just chocolate, right? We have different layers on the inside. So we might have strawberry and vanilla. Any other things that you noticed? Call on a friend, I haven't called one yet. Sophia, did I call you yet? Go ahead.
That you must like strawberry because you have a lot of strawberry.
Okay, so then maybe that's my favorite because this is what the most of my cake is made up of. Cameron?
You might like strawberry and chocolate, like kind of mixed together.
Okay, so maybe I have kind of like a lot of different flavors, right? So this is the model I'm trying to say. So looking at this will be the surface level details. So if we're reading a book and we don't read in depth, if we don't really think too hard about the key details, this is all we're going to see, right? But if we take a closer look and really try to analyze what we're reading, we get a lot more details. Does that make sense? Okay, let's hold our questions, friends. I know we have some good answers. We're going to start reading the book. But we'll actually, before we start reading the book, and to help us read more in depth, we're going to think about the 5 W's. And I have them written down on the chart here. The 5 W's are who, what, when, where, and why. So if we're looking, Charlie, can you see this? Okay, so if we're looking at details that have to do with who, what might those details deal with? And remember, speak up nice and loud for me. Alyssa?
Like who's in the story?
So like who is in the story, right? So who are the characters, okay? So I'm going to write that down here to kind of help us think through this while we're going. So who are the characters? All right, very good. Okay, so thinking about the what might the what in the story be?
Oh.
Oh, why did this not record? Okay, so thinking about the what might the what be? Matthew?
What the heck is happening?
Oh, don't say that. So can we say that a little bit nicer? What is happening, right? So we don't want to use that word. Okay, so what is happening? So what are the events in the story? Okay?
Like what's the problem?
Like what exactly? So what is the problem? Okay, so I'm gonna write a couple of those ideas. What is happening? is the problem? I like that, Matthew. Or who said that last one?
Me.
What is the problem? All right. Now looking at when. What might when be about in the story? Sophia M. So what might when deal with? It has something to do with a clock. Yeah, when did the story take place? So what time? Maybe what time of day? Maybe they might actually be talking about, what exactly what time of day, or they might just be saying nighttime or daytime, okay?
Or didn't it write when? Didn't when did the story take place? And write like a certain kind of time.
Okay. Remember, friends, if we're gonna share answers, make sure you're raising your hand and not calling out, okay? So for when, we're gonna put time, okay? So when is dealing with time. So when did the story take place? Okay. Now looking at where. What might the details that have to do with where deal with? Charlie?
We always set setting.
The setting. Awesome. So where's the setting? Where's the location? What kind of places are we going in this story or book, whatever we're reading? So we're going to just write setting and places. Okay, how about why? This one's a little bit more challenging.
Oh.
Shannon?
Why did it happen?
So yeah, why did it happen? So why are things in the story happening, right? So like, if there was an event, if there was an event, let's say the event was the guy went to the store. We gotta wonder why did he go to the store, right? So those would be the details that we put into there. So often when we're thinking about details of why, remember, don't call out. When we're thinking about details of why, we gotta ask ourselves that question, and our answer to that question is kind of what we'll be writing down. So why? So why did they do what they did, or why did this happen? All right. So we are going to begin reading. At first, I'm going to kind of be looking for these details as I read. I'm going to write down a few of them, and then I'm going to have all my friends help me out. Okay? Seth, do you have a question?
Can I go to my dad?
Yes, sir. Isabel, do you have a question? Yeah, you can come up. You can show us.
I think the cake has to do with never judge a book by its cover.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, if we just try to just skim through a book and look at just the cover, we're going to miss a lot of stuff. But like Isabel said, if we read in depth and we look at all the little details, we learn a lot more, right? Awesome. Isabel, thank you for that example. Any other questions before we get started? Sophia?
Why? I don't know why it's happening.
You being silly.
Wow.
Okay, last question, Jermaine.
What did you say?
Class, please listen to our friend is sharing. Sophia.
I think the cake means all the flies.
Sophia, please listen to our classmate. Isabel.
All the flies things that there was in them. I think they all mean the whole cake of it, like the whole book in the cake.
Jermaine, you're exactly right, and I probably should have added that in there. All of these 5 W's, that is the whole cake. That is all the details that we're looking for, right? Is that what you meant by that? Thank you for sharing. That was awesome. Okay, so we're going to get started. As I read, I'm going to try to think about key details in the text. So remember, key details are the important details, right? So I'm going to think about who are the characters, what is happening, what's the problem, when did it happen, think about where it happened, and why did things happen? Why did characters do the things they did? Okay? Has anybody read this book before? Rechargeable?
Oh, I seen it when I was at first grade.
Okay. So I think you guys are really going to like this book. All right. So here we go. In the village of Verb, a mysterious thing has occurred. All of the people are completely still. Okay, so just from this first page here, I learned to think about the setting. I learned where it took place. So I'm going to write that in my graphic organizer here. It said that it took place in the village of Verb. Okay? So where, I'm going to use my orange marker, so I'm writing where down here in the village of Verb. A verb. It's a weird name for a village, isn't it?
Oh, maybe it's a verb in the village.
Okay, then make sure we're not calling out. And I also learned learned one more thing. I learned what the problem is. It said all the people are completely still. But I don't know why they're completely still, so that's why it's important that I keep reading. But I'm just going to write that down too. The problem, everyone is completely still. All right, so let's read on to find out some more key details from this text. Okay, on the outskirts of town, a young girl named Poppy is sitting on a hilltop when a strong gust of wind blows her over. Poppy's stiff body hits the ground and starts to roll. As she rolls, her eyes begin to open. Poppy can feel her arms hitting the ground with each turn. Okay, so from this page, I learned about a new character. What was her name? Remember, raise your hand, friends. Vivian? Poppy, right? So from that page alone, I learned something about the who in this story. So I'm going to write here, who are the characters? We have one character, Poppy. So I'll write her name up in our graphic organizer, and then I'll continue reading for more key details. So do you think all the details in the text are key details? Are they all important? No. So while we're reading, it's very important that we try to differentiate that. We want to make sure we're thinking about what's important and what's not, okay? So on this page, Poppy struggles to stand up. As she pushes up with her arms, she feels a positive charge. Poppy looks up and sees someone leaning against a tree. Who is this boy, she wonders. She takes a step toward him, then another, and with each step she gains strength. Poppy shakes the boy. Nothing. She pushes him over, thinking it might help. It does not. Then Poppy notices a house. She walks over to see if anyone is inside. So I kind of have a question about this. I'm wondering who this boy is, right? Because they don't tell us his name, but all we know is that he's completely still like the rest of the people. So I think it's important that we keep reading on to find out more. Okay? As Poppy walks into the dusty house, she sees a man sitting at a table and a woman on the couch. She doesn't know who the people are or why they're not moving. Poppy shakes the woman. Nothing happens. When she goes to shake the man, she notices something written on his notepad. So here's the notepad. The notepad says, what you do gives you energy. Okay, so I want you to turn and talk to your friends and tell me, does this note tell us anything about the 5 W's in this story? Let's turn and talk with our partner sitting right next to us, and then we'll share out. Shannon, let's turn and talk with Robert. Kaden, Matthew, make sure we're sharing. Okay, we'll make sure, so we'll wait till whole. What's your question? Yes. Okay, let's come back. Let's try to share some ideas. Who came up with a good idea? So what might we learn from about the 5 W's, some key details from this message? Isabella. You can share from there. Just make sure you speak up nice and loud. So what part would we put that in? We learned that it says what you do gives you energy. So that's something important. So where would we put that? In the what, exactly. So we learned